start on this new one now of the couple coming across this street here, very sort of 1950s scene, 50s to 70s possibly, and night time obviously. But I like the colours in this that I've enhanced and pulled out. I've changed the photograph considerably, I always do. I usually use my own, but sometimes I borrow somebody else's, but if I do I always change them. Ooh, I always change them to over 100% in colours and textures and so on. And then take them further, because we're not copying photographs anyway. It's nothing I ever do. Even with my own photographs, I never copy them as a photograph onto the painting. We take them further, we use them as a basis for the painting. In this one, let's look at the colours I'm going to be using then. It's an interesting composition, I like it very much. It's very simple. I was going to keep it for a demonstration, but I just want to get on with it really now. So we'll have some fun today. Let's look at the colours we're going to use. I'm going to be using the sponge roller again, these lovely fellas, which I find very, very useful. Do almost an entire painting in that, mixing in here, water, my filberts and flats if I need them. Next, in what paints we're going to use, I've been asked this a few times, but I'll put it at the beginning of this film, which will hopefully give the information you want. What acrylics do I use then? Well, I've got a whole mixture here. One of my favourites has been the System 3 heavy bodies, but unfortunately they're no longer available. Now, one of the best on the market is golden, but of course they're very expensive. So the heavier body the acrylic we use, the better it's going to be, the better covering power it's got. Ordinary acrylics are quite good. I mean, some of these cheaper, the Graduates and the Studio Privio there, they're quite good paints, but they aren't as heavy bodied and thick and opaque as the heavy body ones. They aren't as good. They will cover, but it takes a lot more of them, and you sometimes have to add white in. It's very important just to have a good white. You do want a heavy body white. So I bought up all of these old System 3s I can lay my hands on, and in my next few films I hope to sample a few other acrylics. I've written to a firm recently who supply my brushes, and they've offered me trade now, which is good. And I'm going to explore some of their acrylics. They do 3 types, and I'm going to use their heavy bodies, and we'll show what their paints are like as compared to these other ones here, of which we've got many. We've got the Daily Brownies here, and all sorts. Colour, of course, are very good. The acrylic colours are a heavy body anyway. Again, they're in smaller tubes and slightly more expensive, but it can be more worthwhile. It depends what you're doing. I know that Hashim Akib, for instance, uses the golden for his main paintings, but uses a cheaper student's quality for demonstrations usually. And I have a mixture here then of all different sorts. So cheaper ones, whatever they are fine, but they will be thinner, they won't be as bright, they won't be as strong. And I've even been using, as you've seen in a flower painting recently, oil paints over acrylics underneath, that extra vibrancy and depth of colour, intensity that I cannot get just with acrylics. So I'll be doing a film shortly which will be showing that, and we'll take a look at the various acrylics and the covering power that we can find with them. So I don't normally use black, but I think I will be with this, even though I don't want to go too dark with these. I think I'll bring them out just a bit. So in our palette then, we've got black, we've got the burnt sienna. I think we're certainly going to need Alizarin Crimson. We're going to need the purple and possibly the Prussian blue. We can go into the greens. I can just bring a little bit of green in, possibly a bit of the emerald here, and with that brown it will give me that colour. And you know, with that we're almost there. I don't think I'm going to need much more. Lighter here, maybe a little bit of yellow ochre and white. Whether we should go slightly towards the yellows on this one, maybe bring in a bit of chrome yellow and white on that. Should do it, I think. But we've got all these colours to use if we need to. But I think then, for our palette today, black, burnt sienna, emerald, Prussian blue, purple and yellow ochre, possibly a little touch of either lemon yellow or chrome yellow probably here, and the Alizarin Crimson, and we should get away with this. Okay, you see I've drawn this out, my palette of colours ready here, my mixing here, the roller, the brushes, everything here. But to do this, when I mix, I usually take a larger brush, mix from my palette into the mixing palette, and then roll the sponge through the brush that I mix with onto the palette. Don't just roll it into the palette, but use the paint on the brush as well, so that we roll it like this onto the palette. Don't need to show you much more at the moment. We'll discuss the colours as I paint through it. Now, I want to start with my deeper colours and gradually work towards my lighter ones. I'm going to take a flat 1 inch at the moment, or 3/4 inch, and I'm going to use my very deep colours first of all. I'm not going to use black straight away though. I'm going to go for the Alizarin Crimson and the purple first of all, to build up some of these darks, and a wee bit of Prussian, and that will give me a pretty dark colour. If I want darker than that, I can put a little bit of, I'm going to put a little bit of burnt sienna into it now. And I'll just show you with the brush how that works. I mean, look how dark that goes, so it gives you an idea. That's for this dark here, and for these shapes here. Normally I do everything with the roller if possible, but I like to be versatile and just use things as I wish as I go along. So that's the dark that I'm going to use then for doing these and for these figures. I'm going to actually, rather than do that straight off, I'm going to start with these lighter background colours. So there's my dark, and I could even use a little bit of black at the end. And I'm going to use that dark as it comes into here as well. But let's start off with some of these mid-tones. I think it's probably better thinking about it to start off with the mid-tones in this. That paint will sit there and can be used in a moment. And for the mid-tones, well, we want this sort of greeny yellow ochre colour in the background. How am I going to get that? Well, I'll do just that. I'll take some yellow ochre, put it into my palette, a wee touch of the emerald green into that to give me an emerald green yellow ochre. Then I need to take it down a bit, to tone it down. In fact, why don't I share with you the mixing of this colour? So I've already taken a bit of yellow ochre there, a little bit of the emerald green into it to make it greener, a bit more still. And now I'm going to take some of that purple mix I made earlier and just kill it a bit with that. This is the burnt sienna, the bit of purple and a little bit of Prussian. And look there, we've almost got the colour we want. May need to be a fraction warmer, so I'll take a little more burnt sienna into that. And there we go, that's not far off that colour. We'll just try it on here, let's just see how it looks, if it's anywhere near. Yeah, that's not far off. Our tones are pretty dark because we're having an evening scene and we want the lights to show out. So there's my basic tone. Now I've got to get the sponge roller going. Now when you first start using the sponge roller, you need to just damp it a bit. So I'm just going to put it in some water here. I don't want it soaking, just damp. And if you've washed the sponge roller, make sure you dry it off with a paper towel, otherwise you'll have too much water in it. Now it takes a lot of paint when you first start. So we roll the sponge roller through the brush, and the paint's almost immediately gone. I'm going to have to make some more straight away. We don't have to keep cleaning the sponge roller. That's one of the beauties of this way of working. You'd be surprised. If we work from our mid-tones and our lighter tones outwards, gradually getting stronger and darker, we'll find that you don't have to keep washing the sponge roller. Still too dark, too light I mean. A bit more of this. And then a touch of this to darken it down, and we should be there. So we know some of our colours are going to mix already. Test it on the canvas, there we go. And again, I've got all that paint now, roll it onto the roller, roll it through the brush. There we are, nice and even. And then, in the right places. Now, as I say with the brush, if you've got it on your brush or on your roller, wherever it is, use it. Don't go part way and then clean your roller and then whatever and then come back again. Wherever it is, we use it. So right up to those edges. Go over slightly if you want to, because we don't want a halo. We certainly don't want a white halo anywhere. That comes right down to there. And remember, we can use the edge of a roller as well. So we can use the edge of the roller this way to get the effects we want. Right through and up into here. We're going to get some lovely textures and variations of tone as we do this way as well. Bring it out from underneath the easel slightly here so I don't leave a white line up here. Doesn't matter if you go over things slightly, because we can pick that out later with a brush or with the roller again. All I want is a basic effect of light at the moment. Just to show you how we can use this technique, all the way down here, right down, and maybe a little bit of it coming down here between these posts. So I'll just put a bit down here, which I'll go over with a darker colour later. Don't mind if you go over him slightly, you can see the drawing through just slightly still. Right, next colour, and we want to go slightly deeper with that. I'm going to go to a slightly warmer colour, as I was saying about the fact we don't need to keep cleaning the roller. A little bit of water just to keep it going, but don't get it too thin. A bit more yellow ochre again, to here, take some of the Prussian blue into that again. I'll take some of this darker colour from before, a little bit deeper. It's a warmer colour, so I'm going to take a bit of the, a little bit of the Alizarin Crimson this time to warm it up. Could use burnt sienna, but a little bit of the Alizarin Crimson just to take it down a tone. And then we'll just test that against this. Let's have a look at that now. And that colour is going to be coming in over here. Yes, that's about the right colour. So back down to change the colour on my roller. And we roll the roller through the brush again. We have to make a bit more because we need plenty of this colour. Don't mind sharing these techniques with you. You're all going to use them differently to me, so it's not a matter of I'm concerned about you doing better than me or stealing my techniques or being precious about it. It's not what painting's about for me. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I'd like you to share it as well and be able to do and enjoy the things that I do. Not a matter of being narcissistic or anything else. I like to give pleasure and share, and I know that if I'm doing something and enjoy it, you might as well. So here we go. And I'm just using the sponge now, you see, to smudge it rather than just roll it. Just smudge into here, and then I can roll over that too, right down through into there, look. There we go. Back up with that colour quickly. How dark is that? Just a nice colour, yep. So we want to start working down through here. I'm going to go slightly lighter, warmer green behind there in a moment, but let's just get these darker colours going. So across to here now, we've got actually a brown area coming in around this bit in a minute. We'll do that, but I just want to get these colours for these people behind here. Maybe a little bit redder in a minute. We'll just put some more colour over in just a second. And when I've drawn, you have to draw fairly carefully, because you've only got outlines, but those shapes must be as near correct as possible. We can work loosely within a fairly tight drawing, but it's very hard to work within a bad drawing because it tends to make it even worse. So you must get your drawing about right. I haven't cleaned my roller. I've put much more green in here, as you can see, and I'm just going to roll my roller through the brush again to get that green onto the roller, not waste it. Now let's come back down to this greener tint I want going through here. I can roll that right on across the one I've already got. Give that greener tint there, giving me the textures, and a little bit down and around. Now, warmer still. I'm going to go warmer right back to the warmth, clean my brush off a bit. It's my mixing brush I want to clean more than anything now. And I'm going to go back to my burnt sienna. I'm going to take the burnt sienna now, that's this one over here, and add that down there. And I'm going to go straight over that with my roller, as it is. A little bit of water. And let's get that burnt sienna going on my roller. So I've got a little bit of the mix coming through from the previous. Let's see if that's not too light. It is a bit light. I know where else that is, so I've got it that light, just down here. Use your finger too if you want to blend. Anytime, just whatever works, do it. Don't worry about. There's no do's and don'ts about this particularly. It's a new technique, so we're making the rules up as we go along. And we get this variety of shades and colour. There we go. Try not to leave any white canvas showing. We don't want horrible white canvas. And where else is this? Well, it comes down here and through. And I will bring this Alizarin up into that purple that I discussed earlier, right through here. Mix that same colour with the previous green and go back to that green. A bit of water and really mix up the colour here. And we'll come back to this very deep green across here with some warmth in it. Crimson. To try and keep to the palette I've given you, I might put a few other colours on if I have to, but hopefully I won't need to do much in that way. It's on the roll. If you see it anywhere else, remember, go back and do it. Magenta and a little touch of white into that now. Well, not magenta, sorry, Alizarin Crimson, a little touch of that white in. So we've lost a lot of our white now, which is good. Start to feel some of these sort of light just going on behind here, something else just being indicated. You don't want to let the brain do let the eye do the work. Now much darker again. Need to bring in some of these really much darker colours. So again, take my Prussian blue, going to go darker, Alizarin Crimson, a wee bit of the green again, tad of yellow ochre, a little bit of burnt sienna, the whole lot this time, and see if we can get that lovely deep rich brown green down after here. We're getting a nice effect of the textures now, as well as these layers of dark colours. And warmer up there, so more alizarin and a bit of purple into that to get a really deep, warm red purple. Let's see if we've got that anything like. Now it needs to be deeper yet, a bit more Prussian and the purple into there. Really go dark. We must lose this white canvas. A bit more alizarin. And we'll start looking at the figure through the face first. This is just to get the background effect. We're going to bring out the actual drawing and the correct shapes later. But at the moment I just want to get the right effects of tone and colour hue that cools and warms here. Alizarin Crimson, purple at the moment. Start to see these figures appearing actually now, don't we? And the shadows from these figures. Add a bit more Prussian to it, and a wee bit of burnt sienna to start to get my darks. A little bit of water just to nothing's flowing. Let's see if we can start to find some of these shadows now. We'll start to put him in with the same sort of Prussian burnt sienna. Lose that light. We'll come back in with the lighter colours over it afterwards. Let's just get it coated for the moment. Prussian, little touch of purple, burnt sienna. Put a few darks behind here just to when I put these lights on in a moment, these medium lights, and these darks can just glow through. Let's come back to this lighter orange colour we've got here, which I'm going to do far more with later. So I'm going to start with a bit of burnt sienna, some yellow ochre, which is far too bright as you can see, but not that far out actually. Deaden it down a bit of our previous darker colour there. Let's just bring that roller through it, which will darken it anyway. Just test that. Right. Let's have a go at starting to get some of these warmer lights up into here. I'm going to go lighter yet in a moment by far, but just to establish, see the lovely effects we can get with the roller, even before going in with the brush. I need to lose this canvas forever, but I need to take that out. So even though my drawing is lacking at the moment, that's just giving me the basic tones and effect of white, isn't it? So we'll just go on to the dark colours, very darks. Again for the moment, the purple, a little touch of black, and a bit of Prussian. Let's just give you an idea of how these wonderful dark colours can work when we really, just before I stop for a break. Let's have a look down here now. Here comes this lamppost down here. So I'll do more with the brush later, but I just want to get the basics in with this roller to get some texturing. You see these lovely effects now as I start to work the darks in as well that we can get. Need a sharper edged roller really, but I'll just go a little bit longer with this one, as carefully as I can. And just feel these lampposts, for instance. And bring them out again afterwards. There we are. I think I've taken you to the basics at the moment. That's it. We'll go on from there. We'll take a break. So I've mixed two colours here, a lighter one and a darker one. I'm going to go through the darker one first. Okay, got a new roller now, and they last a fairly long while, but that one had just lost its finesse. So now I want to come back into this and start. You see, get a sharper edge now with this, because I've got a new roller on. I'm still sticking with the same colours that I advise you for the palette. I haven't changed it. So I'm not cheating, and we'll if you want to have a go at this yourself, you'll be able to now. I put the drawing up originally for you. You don't have to follow the drawing exactly, we're still working creatively, so we can change things as we want, when we want, and use some of the accidents even if we have some. A lighter colour now, so I don't have to keep washing the roller. And just try and bring that up behind here to carefully lighten up these textures coming out. And then I was saying about using the lighter colour I've just made to bring things out. Rather than that next one, just make a little bit more of it, a bit more white, a bit more yellow ochre. This one I'd set aside for another art group to show them to demonstrate, but it seems they can't do their booking until the new year, and I can't be waiting for that, so I'll do it now, and then they can have another one later. Hopefully I'll find a little different one for them. Stonework here, and the light shining on the stone, and the texture. This roller can help me do this. Slightly verticals just to give the feeling of a damp surface maybe, and I think we're almost at the stage of needing to use a brush now. So I'll make up this lovely dark again, and it was a bit of purple, a bit of Prussian blue, a bit of black, a bit of alizarin, even a wee touch of brown, a whole lot, because we want this gamut dark. And let's roll that through and get this previous lighter colour and get things in the right places as well. It's just not quite at the moment. I'll go back to these figures, and the height of them actually is above here, so they should be, in fact these marks here were originally the heads, and that's where they should be. So I've got to redraw these. And you know, some people would call that finished, but I want to come back and just work on it a bit more yet. I think maybe this one's taking back just a bit as well. I'm going to wash my roller because I'm going from dark to lighter. So I just need to, I think, take this down a tad here. So I'm going to take that green that I had earlier. Yeah, it might do. Yeah, that's better. A bit more brown in it. I just want to darken it a fraction. It's just a bit too bright. What colours you'd specifically think would be right for a nighttime scene, would you? Use a little bit of ultramarine. I've not used much blue in it yet, so I'm going to take a little bit of ultramarine into this now. a foot here, in between her feet. Okay, I think we're at the stage now where a brush is needed, and we start to bring out first the dark shapes and get the drawing right, and then we'll go to the highlights. Right, let's move on to brushwork then. Pick up a fairly small brush first of all. What size am I going to need for this? I want to use a filbert, so I'm going to use a 1/4 inch straight away, and straight away go back to my darks as well. So I'm going to mix up some of that black with some deep purple and blue, and just go back to my details here. And it's surprising how when you think I've got dark already, it isn't as dark when you actually see it put in like this, is it? On the side of her head there. These are very abstract shapes and we don't want to make too much of them. Just let the eye do the work, as I say. And these will make more sense when I have a chance to put the lighter tones around as well. And back to our ultramarine blue. A wee bit of white into it. Let's just hint at this colour here. A bit of cool just here. These little bits of colour can make such a difference. So even that little bit of blue, you see how it brings out the blues in the painting now as well. We were working on the darks and got carried away a bit there. Let's go back to the darks. Be careful with these darks, I don't want to make them too dark and bring out things too much. Add a little bit of brown into that to soften it slightly. Just hint at the things, don't have to paint them in too much detail, just hint at this effect of slightly misty light, maybe a slight London smog even at this time of the period. Here that are hinted at but not finished. And these are difficult things to do with the rolls. I mean, we've got to use the brushes for this sort of work. And suddenly we've got a street with tables and chairs. And we're coming down to last highlights, I suppose, really now. Bring that head a bit further forward, and you'll be surprised how quickly it's going to come together now, because I'm down to my, as I say, my last highlight. So let's look at that lovely orange gold again. Look in the street lights first of all, and we'll take the yellow ochre, some Alizarin Crimson. Look at that neat first of all. Just paint that into here to get the effect of the light. Right back to here. Even a little touch up in the lamp up here. Right back to this one here. And behind them here there's a little bit. You see the lovely effects we can get just by playing with light. Now, the same yellow ochre and some white. Don't need lemon yellow for this, I don't think, today. Got a bit lighter still up into here. And down here. And just in the middle of that, just blend that round a bit. Take some white and just really get the light going in the centre there. Look how beautifully our lights suddenly come together. The whole thing will start to take shape now. And this is where I need to start picking up little highlights of things, the little marks. So I'm going to go into a smaller brush, because I just want to catch some small highlights here and there. So down now to a little round, just to pick up on the tiniest of highlights in places, which will make such a difference to our painting. These little highlights that give form to all of the other objects. The smallest of marks in the right places can just make such a difference. Even this little bit of light I'm going to put here, just to bring our foot out, to show the height of his feet, for instance, here. And our painting's about done, I reckon. We don't want to do too much on this one. I need to indicate things. So, what sort of signature shall I do? That's another thing, isn't it? Something just down here, I think. Not too ostentatious, just say it's me. And there we go. Fun? Hope you enjoyed that. Let's take a closer look. It gives you an idea how it's painted. Well, there we are again. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration of this nighttime piece.